January 2026. Manchester United sits 6th in the table, coming off their worst league finish in half a century. The board is considering monetizing academy talent amid widespread transfer speculation. The manager who dragged them into 15th place has just been sacked after publicly attacking his own director of football on live television. And the interim replacement they're about to hire? A man who had finished 10th in the championship before leaving Middlesbrough. Sounds like chaos, right? It was genius. Michael Carrick steadied the ship. He ripped out every single piece of Ruben Amorim's broken system, rebuilt United's tactical identity during his tenure, and delivered a 39-point haul across 16 games that secured Champions League football, all while giving opportunities to the club's promising academy talents. This is how Carrick fixed Manchester United's broken system. It started with understanding why it broke in the first place. November 2024. Ruben Amorim arrives at Old Trafford with a reputation built on his work at Sporting CP. He brings his signature 3-4-3 system with him. Non-negotiable. No compromise. The formation that won him a league title in Portugal would work at United too, except it didn't. The squad wasn't built for three at the back. United's defenders had spent years playing in a back four. Their wingbacks weren't natural wide players with the stamina to cover the entire flank for 90 minutes. And the midfield? Casemiro, in his mid-30s, was being asked to cover ground he could no longer reach. Mainoo, a technically gifted young midfielder who thrived in tight spaces, was being judged on his ability to sprint box-to-box in a system that demanded physical endurance over intelligence. Amorim was slow to adjust. He doubled down. By May 2025, Manchester United finished 15th in the Premier League with 42 points. 15th. Their worst league campaign in 35 years. They reached the Europa League final in Bilbao, sure, but in the league they were hemorrhaging goals at a rate of 1.4 per game. The dressing room had fractured. Players stopped responding. And one of them was about to break. December 15th, 2025. Old Trafford. United draws 4-4 with Bournemouth, conceding a late equalizer after taking the lead in the final minutes. Mainoo watches from the bench. Again. He's seen reduced playing time in several of the season's opening games. His half-brother, Jordan Mainoo, decides enough is enough. He wears a custom t-shirt to the match. White text on black fabric. 3 words, free, KOBBIEMAINOO. Jordan posts the photo to his 682,000 Instagram followers. The image goes viral within hours. It served as a public accusation that then-manager Ruben Amorim was mismanaging one of United's brightest academy prospects. And while rumors circulated, there was no evidence Kabi actually knew about or endorsed the protest. His own family felt the need to stage a public protest in the stands. How does a manager alienate a homegrown teenager that badly? January 5th, 2026. Elland Road. United draws 1-1 with Leeds United. Another frustrating result. Another tactical stalemate. January 4th, 2026. Elland Road. United draws 1-1 with Leeds United. Another frustrating result. Another tactical stalemate. Ruben Amorim walks into the post-match press conference and decides to go scorched earth. He publicly criticizes Manchester United's board, calls out their lack of transfer activity. Then he looks directly at the camera and says Director of Football Jason Wilcox needs to do his job. Live. On television. Less than 19 hours later, Ruben Amorim is sacked. The board had tolerated their worst league finish of the Premier League era. They'd backed him through dressing room leaks and tactical inflexibility. But publicly attacking the hierarchy? That was the line. And Amorim sprinted across it with a microphone in his hand. So how did this thing get fixed? Subscribe to this channel and you'll start noticing how many broken systems get rebuilt with one simple decision. January 2026. January 2026. Darren Fletcher takes over as caretaker, managing matches against Burnley and Brighton. Then, on January 13th, the board makes the call. Michael Carrick, former United midfielder. A man who just finished 10th in the championship with Middlesbrough. No silverware. Limited top-flight experience as a manager. And he's supposed to fix this? Carrick walked into Carrington and immediately canceled every single transfer negotiation and loan bid involving Mainoo. The board had been in advanced talks with Chelsea. A £40 million bid was on the table. They were prepared to accept it. Carrick made it clear from day one that Mainoo remained a key part of his plans. Then he called Mainoo into his office and told him he was starting the next game. Not as a rotation option, not as a squad player. Starting. every week. Carrick refused to force Mainoo into a system that didn't suit him. He built the system around Mainoo, and that meant Amorim's 3-4-3 had to go. Carrick scrapped the back three entirely. He shifted United to a flexible 4-2-3-1 that could drop into a disciplined 4-4-2 mid-block when defending. The shape wasn't revolutionary, but the execution was surgical. Here's the key. Carrick understood that United's defensive collapse under Amorim resulted from structural failures rather than individual mistakes. The 3-4-3 left Casemiro isolated in midfield. The Brazilian was being asked to cover space he couldn't reach anymore, leaving large gaps between the lines. Opponents were running straight through the middle. Every single game. Carrick's 4-4-2 mid-block solved that by compressing the space. Two banks of four, narrow and compact, forcing opponents wide. Casemiro no longer had to chase runners into channels he couldn't reach. He could sit deeper, read the game, and use his positioning instead of his legs. The defensive line tightened. The gaps disappeared. United tightened their defense under Carrick, down from their earlier rate under Amorim. One tactical tweak, one structural adjustment. And suddenly, the defense that had been bleeding goals for 14 months looked competent again. Carrick made a decision that half the fanbase thought was wild. He recalled Harry Maguire to the starting XI. Maguire had struggled with form and injuries under Amorim. Too slow for the back three. Too ponderous in possession. A symbol of everything wrong with the post-Ferguson era. Fans had been calling for his sale for 2 years. Carrick started him in 5 consecutive games. Why? Because Maguire could do something United desperately needed. Organize a defensive line. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the most elegant. But he knew how to hold a line, communicate with his center-back partner, and command the penalty area. In Carrick's compact 4-4-2, Maguire didn't need pace. He needed intelligence. And he had it. The defense stabilized. United stopped conceding cheap goals. And suddenly, the attacking players had a platform to build from. February 2026, Carrington Training Ground. Carrick implements a series of changes that sound small on paper but rewire the entire daily experience of being a Manchester United player. He shortens training sessions to enforce higher intensity. Amorim's sessions had dragged on for hours, players half engaged, going through the motions. Carrick cuts them to 75 minutes and demands every drill is done at match speed. You want to coast? Do it somewhere else. He delays matchday stadium arrival times. Under previous managers, players were told to arrive at Old Trafford 2.5 hours before kickoff. They'd sit in the dressing room, waiting, overthinking. Carrick pushed the bus arrival back by about 15 minutes. 15 minutes less waiting around. 15 minutes more energy when they hit the pitch. And here's the one that players talk about most. He moved post-game recovery days. Under Amorim, players would come in the day after a match for ice baths, massage, and light recovery work. Carrick scrapped it. You play Saturday? You're off Sunday. Completely off. No Carrington. No check-ins. Go home. See your family. Rest. The players loved him for it. But love doesn't win you Champions League football. Results do. And Carrick's gamble on Mainoo paid off immediately. January through May 2026. 16 Premier League games under Michael Carrick. 11 wins, a league-leading points haul, the highest points tally of any Premier League club during that period. It was the highest in the entire league. Kobbie Mainoo played in all 16 of those matches during that run, and he thrived. Carrick relied on his intelligence instead of demanding he act as a physical powerhouse. Mainoo's job in the 4-2-3-1 was simple. Receive the ball under pressure, turn, and find the forward line quickly. No sprinting box to box. No covering ground for wingbacks who couldn't defend. Just do what he's always been brilliant at, seeing the pass before it's on and executing it under pressure. United climbed from 6th to 3rd. They secured Champions League qualification with 3 games to spare. And on May 22nd, 2026, Michael Carrick was named permanent manager on a contract through 2028. The man who finished 10th in the championship 6 months earlier was now managing one of the biggest clubs in world football. And he'd earned it by doing something Ruben Amorim never could, adapting. If this is hitting different, take a second to hit like. It genuinely helps the algorithm show this to more people who need to see it. During the summer of 2026, United signed Andre Santos, Yuri Tielemans, and Carl Darlow for approximately £85 million. Solid additions. But Carrick publicly called on the board to spend more. He looked at what City, Arsenal, and Chelsea were doing in the market and told reporters, "We need to match them." That's not arrogance. That's a manager who knows what his squad needs and isn't afraid to demand it. Amorim struggled to adapt the squad he inherited. Carrick demonstrated you can win with what you've got, then sought reinforcement. And then came their final preseason friendly, August 15th, 2026. Wrocław, Poland. Manchester United faces AC Milan in their final preseason match. Milan wins 4-2. The Milan manager? Ruben Amorim. He left United in disgrace in January. 7 months later, he's managing one of Europe's historic clubs, and he beats his former team in a meaningless friendly. The optics are brutal, but it's only pre-season. Carrick rotated the squad, gave minutes to fringe players, tested new combinations. The scoreline doesn't matter. What matters is this: Amorim is managing a side that hasn't won a Serie A title since 2022. Carrick is managing a side that just qualified for the Champions League after a record-low league campaign. One of them rebuilt a broken system. The other is still trying to prove his system works. You tell me who won that exchange. Ruben Amorim is a good manager. He won a league title at Sporting. He developed young players. He earned the Manchester United job on merit. And he failed. He refused to adapt. He walked into a squad that didn't fit his system and decided the squad was wrong. He isolated Mainoo because Mainoo didn't fit his physical profile. He overworked Casemiro in a role that exposed every limitation the Brazilian had. Amorim insisted on a back three when the defenders had never played it. And when it all fell apart under Amorim, he blamed the board on live television. Michael Carrick walked into the exact same squad 7 months later and turned it into a Champions League team. Same players, same stadium, same budget, different manager. That is pure competence. The clearest evidence? Carrick didn't bring in a single new signing during his interim spell. Every player who delivered that 36-point run was already at the club when Amorim was in charge. Mainoo was there, Maguire was there, Casemiro was there. They just needed someone to put them in positions where they could succeed. Amorim couldn't do it. Carrick could. So was this a tragic mistake? Or the moment reality finally caught up with a manager who prioritized ideology over results? Was Mainoo's exclusion a tactical decision or a fundamental misreading of a generational talent? And does Michael Carrick's rapid turnaround prove that sometimes the best system isn't the most sophisticated one, but the one that fits the players you actually have? Let me know in the comments. If any of this stuck with you, like and subscribe. There's so much more hiding in plain sight.